Welcome to the Basic Paint Training video series. These short videos are designed for the person that just started working in a paint department. Hopefully, after watching them, you will feel more comfortable helping your customers find what they need for their paint projects. This is the second video of 11 in our Basic Paint Training video series. We're going to go over some topics to help you as a new paint department employee. In this video, we will learn what is in a gallon of paint, how, by changing the amount and the quality of each component, you change the quality and price of the paint. Let's get started. Let's take a look at what makes up a can of paint and how different priced and different quality levels of paint differ. All paint, no matter who manufactures it, has four types of ingredients. They are pigments, binders, solvents, and additives. It doesn't matter who manufactured the paint, it still has these four ingredients in every can of paint. It's the combination of these ingredients that affects the quality of the paint and the price. Let's look at each of the four ingredients in detail. We're going to start with pigment. Pigment has three main purposes. It provides hide, it adds color, and it adjusts gloss levels. Hide refers to a paint's ability to conceal or cover the surface or previous color. Generally, the better the pigment in the paint, the better it hides, especially when it's being applied. The better it hides, the better the paint's quality, and the better the quality of the paint, the better the customer's reaction to the paint and their perception of it. Put another way, the customer will always have a good perception of a paint if it hides well. Pigment's also used to determine the color of the paint, which in most cases is why people are painting in the first place. They want a fresh new look for their room. Pigment is a key ingredient in impacting the quality of paints. It also impacts the gloss level. Paint wants to be glossy. We add pigments to knock that gloss down. Now, thinking from a customer's point of view, the better the pigment, the better the hide. The better the hide, that means less coats they're going to have to put on. The less coats they have to put on means less work involved and less paint, which means less cost. Are all pigments created the same? Well, let's examine the different types of pigments. The absolute best pigment is one called titanium dioxide. This pigment hides the best, but also costs the most. The more of this type of pigment is in a can of paint, the better it's going to hide. But also the higher the price will be on the can of paint. The second best pigment is called an extender pigment. Now these are made up of things like ground up marble or ground up clay. They also provide hide, but they're not as good as titanium dioxide. They tend to be much cheaper, so they tend to be used in higher quantities in lower cost, lower quality paints. Extender pigments are also used to cut down the gloss of paint. As a rule, the flatter the finish of paint, the more extender pigments are in it. The third best pigment is some of the colorants you put in at the store level when your customer asks for a color to be mixed. These colorants are mined from the earth, meaning that they are made by Mother Nature. This makes them the best colorant to get maximum hide with a color. They also tend to be more durable and fade less than some of the other colorants. There are 6 of these colorants that you use that are in this category. The fourth best pigment is QZ, which is a hybrid colorant that is a combination of man-made and Mother Nature made. It is a yellow, but it tends to have a blue cast to it at times. Because of this, it cannot be the only yellow colorant we offer. It will provide a better option in colors being used outside. Now, the fifth best, or you could possibly say the worst pigment, is our man-made colorants. These are 5 of the colorants that tend to be brighter, more vibrant colors that are mainly used when your customer picks a bright, clean, vibrant color. These tend not to hide as well, and colors that use a lot of these colorants will either require more coats of paint or a primer to achieve good hide. Many of your products have four bases to be used to mix colors. The first base is a pastel base. Now, this base can be used to mix light colors, or you can sell it as a bright, clean, premixed white. We're going to show you the difference between the pastel base and a premixed white in a little while. You can also add up to 2 ounces of colorants to a pastel base to achieve lighter pastel colors that are on your color center. The next base is the tint base. Now this is used for light to medium colors, and it allows you to add up to 4 ounces of colorant to this to get those slightly darker colors. The next base is our deep base. Now this is for medium to dark colors, and it allows you to add up to 8 ounces of colorant to them. The last base is our neutral base. Now this base is completely void of pigment. The only pigment in this can is what you add at the store level. And it allows you to add up to 16 ounces of colorant, so you can get those really, really dark colors. Now, one thing I would highly suggest, if your customer is picking a color that goes into a neutral base, you need to suggest they either plan on using a primer or plan on putting multiple coats on to get the hide they want. The three-base system is very similar to the four-base system, with the exception of the tint and deep bases are replaced by a medium base. Now that medium base is filled at 118 ounces and holds up to 8 ounces of colorant in it. So you just learned that the main purpose of pigment is to hide and add color. But pigment won't hold to a surface. To do that, binders are added to paint. The binder's job is to hold the paint to the substrate and provide life. The better the binder, the longer the paint's going to last, and the more you're going to be able to scrub and wash it. There are many different types of binders used in today's paints. We're going to cover 4 options used today. The first is a 100% acrylic binder. This binder is a very best option, but tends to cost a little bit more. It's going to provide excellent adhesion, flexibility, water and UV resistance, scrubbability, mold and mildew resistance, and is longer lasting. The second type of a binder is vinyl acrylics. Now, they tend to cost less and are considered a value acrylic, you might say. They are used in lower cost, cheaper paints. The only positive thing about them is they do offer good application properties. The next is called an alkyd. Now these binders are the ones used in oil-based paints. They tend to be harder and dry much slower. The last one is a polyurethane, which is a man-made alkyd. They tend to be tougher, but not as hard and brittle as an alkyd. They are great for floor paints and clears to be used over wood. The binder does many things. The better the binder, the longer that paint's going to last and the more scrubbable it's going to be. When your customer asks, what's the difference between two different quality levels? You can simply tell them it's going to wash and scrub better and it's going to last longer between paint jobs, which in the end leads to lower costs per year. In this video, you will see a balloon painted with a vinyl acrylic paint poked with a needle. Notice how it explodes into shards and doesn't stick to the balloon when it deflates. It has no flexibility or adhesion to hang on to that balloon. Keep in mind, paint has to expand and contract with temperature changes. This is especially true of exterior paints. In this video, the balloon is painted with a 100% acrylic paint. Notice he had to poke it multiple times to get it to deflate. That is because it resealed itself when poked once. Also, notice that as the balloon deflates, the paint holds on to it, shrinking with the balloon. So let's review what we've learned so far. The pigment and the binder are what's left on the wall after the paint dries. It's referred to as the solids in a can of paint. The more solids, the more paint that's going to be left on the substrate. The solvent only has one job, and that is to liquefy the product so you can paint it out and then evaporate. Latex paints use water as their solvent, and oil-based paints use a petroleum-based solvent like mineral spirits, xylol, or some other thinning agent. When paint evaporates, it can create things called VOCs, that is, volatile organic compounds. These VOCs are bad for you and the environment. All states have laws on how many VOCs a paint can have. All of our latex paints can be sold in every state. Additives are the wow factor in a gallon of paint. They provide special effects like mildew resistance or low spatter. Keep in mind all these additives come at a cost, and the more additives a paint has, the more it costs. Some of the differentiators in a can of paint are the kind and the amount of additives in the can. From a customer's point of view, it could mean that that better can of paint doesn't spatter, or maybe it'll hold up against mildew, or maybe it's just going to apply much better. All of these additives help provide a better customer experience when using that paint. But as I've said before, it all comes with a cost, and the more the cost, the higher the price to the customer. So we have discussed what makes a can of paint, but the more important thing for you to learn is what does that mean to your customer? If you know what each of the ingredients do, you can explain that to the customer and why one can cost more than the other. Remember, the pigment's main job is to provide hide. The better the pigment, the better it's going to hide, and the less coats of paint are required. This means they're going to use less paint, which means less money and less time only painting one coat instead of two or three. The binders, they give the paint life. The longer the paint's going to last in between paint jobs means they're going to have to paint it less often. It's going to save time and money. The better the binder, the better it's going to allow them to clean and wash and scrub the surface. This also can lead to longer times in between paint jobs. The solvent's main job, like I said, was simply liquefy the paint and then they evaporate. Using a water-based paint will dry faster and have less odor and be safer for your customer and their family. And the last one, additives. Remember, special effects or the wow factor in that gallon of paint. Additives let the paint do something else like prevent mildew or maybe not spatter. Both are great things for your customer. So the next time your customer asks you, hey, what's the difference between that can of EasyCare Ultra Premium and that can of EasyCare Everyday, you're going to have an answer other than $12, $15, whatever the difference is. Thank you for watching this video. The next video you will need to watch depends on what color computer your store has. If you have an X-Rite computer, then move on to video 3. If you have a data color, then move on to video 4. After watching either video 3 or 4, move on to video 5, where we're going to discuss auto dispensers. Thanks for watching. Happy selling!